So I tried to take a couple of days to think about this, and I ended up taking more than I probably should have. Trying to think of an excuse, an explanation, a justification, anything. And there really isn't one. Yeah, we can call it the greatest or the most devastating loss in the franchise's history. And while it's true, it doesn't represent how the fans feel. I'm sure it doesn't represent how the players feel. There is nothing, there is not a word in the English language or any language that I can think of that describes what this loss means to the Sharks as a team, to the reputation of the from everything down, the ownership, the front office, the coaches, the players, the fans, everything. Now I'm of firm belief more than most that the fans are the most important commodity to any sport, to any team for that matter. And I'm sick of the excuses. These end of season wrap up meetings, the end of season media session, it was a joke. Nobody took responsibility for anything. Nobody just came out and said, we sucked. We blew a 3-0 lead. We sucked. They tried to justify it, how it happened. I don't care how it happened. It happened. And the reason why it happened is because we sucked. And I told everybody, LA was too good of a team to lose four straight. And on the same token, that if the Sharks didn't wrap up the series in 5, they would blow it. And that's exactly what happened. I have seen way too much with this team. I've been here since Kingston, Constantine, Sutter, Odgers, Falloon, Krupa, Doug Wilson. I've seen every team that this city has put on the ice. And I believed that there was not a better chance for the Sharks to win their first Stanley Cup than this season. I have never seen a team more stacked, with more pieces, with the ability to win the Stanley Cup than the Sharks had this year. You go 0 for your last 15, you don't win. You don't win a Stanley Cup without special teams. You just don't. It's the same old bullshit from Doug Wilson. It's the same old bullshit from McClellan. It's the same bullshit from everybody, from the top down. And I'm sick of it. Now, I'm not saying you need to gut the team, but you probably do. Because something needs to be done. Doug Wilson needs to be removed as the general manager. Jay Woodcroft needs to be removed, or whoever's in charge of that power play. Joe Thornton needs to be removed as captain. Joe Thornton, as far as I'm concerned, could be traded tomorrow, and I would have absolutely no problem. You want to know why? Every year, oh, that's great. He has 70 assists and 8 goals and 100 whatever points. Here comes April, and there goes Joe Thornton. Bye-bye. See you later. Mike Brown. Mike Brown. I gotta laugh about Mike Brown. Mike Brown, Kent Huskins, Jim Vandermeer. Jim Vandermeer isn't a guy you sign on the first day of free agency. He's a guy that's around in September, and you can pick him up on the back end if you need him. It's not the type of player that you sign on the first day of free agency. Let me draft Devin Setaguchi, or let me draft Anze Kopitar. Did we already talk about Wallin? Huskins? Colin White? Ian White was the first thing that Doug Wilson did since Joe Thornton that I liked, and he didn't even last. Gagliardi and Winnick. And we keep Gagliardi. This team is laughed at by Kings fans, by Ducks fans. There are fans in the NHL that just, oh, Sharks fans exist? The team's a joke. And you're responsible for it. You run the team. You're responsible for the product that we put on the ice and the end result of that product. And your product just did something that's only been done now 4 times in the history of the NHL. And here's another stat. Previously, teams that score the first goal in Game 7 were 124 and 38, or like 132 and 132 wins and 38 losses. Well, now it's 132 and 39. Whatever. Just Doug Wilson needs to be removed as the general manager and do something like they do in Canada. Make him a chairman and pick someone else to run the day-to-day operations. And for all you fans that are talking about fire McClellan, you're morons. Look at my lips. You are a moron. You let McClellan go, and he's going to have a job in less than 24 hours. It'll be a bidding war between Vancouver and Toronto and any other team that needs a coach for that matter. Nashville, you name it. You don't fire McClellan unless you can guarantee that you're going to get Trotz or Mike Keenan or somebody that is going to bench. Did you see what Boudreau did with Solani during the first round? In game 3 or 4 when Getzlaf was out, I think it was game 3. Getzlaf was out and he benched Solani and the next game Solani came out and had by far his best game of the playoffs. We need a coach. If we're going to fire McClellan, we need a coach that is going to get in these guys' faces, that isn't going to take their shit, that's not going to let their power play go 0 for 15 and be like, you know what, we'll try again next year. No, season's not over yet, guys. Herb Brooks, something, I don't know. You don't fire McClellan. And I'm not saying you fired Doug Wilson either, but you removed him from the GM role because besides Thornton, what has he accomplished? 10 straight playoff seasons, 4 division titles, 2 Western Conference regular season championships. I don't even know what the fuck that even means. I don't think anybody knows what the hell that means because it doesn't even exist. But I'm getting sick of this. I'm just sick of it. I mean, and the ticket prices. The Sharks have no business charging half of what they do. They haven't won anything. Yeah. All those banners that are hanging from the rafters of the tank, those are great. But they don't mean shit. They don't mean anything. They just, and also, I saw after Game 7, there were a bunch of people tweeting, oh, I feel so bad for Joe Thornton because he really deserves a Stanley Cup. He doesn't deserve anything. You're not entitled to anything in sports. Nothing. You're not entitled to anything. You get it by earning it. You win it. Oh, Joe Thornton deserves a Stanley Cup. No, he doesn't. And especially if we were just going to hand out championships to players that deserve them, his performance in round 1, that wasn't even good enough to win a championship in the WHL. Okay? And it's not because Jonathan Quick's a good goalie or the LA Kings play the tightest game of hockey you've ever seen or Justin Williams is a Game 7 killer. None of that shit matters. It's all irrelevant. The better team shows up, they score more goals, and they win the game. And that's what the Kings did. So, something that the Sharks should focus on is how to become a better team. And that doesn't mean trading away your homegrown talent like Jamie McGinn or for players that you're going to keep the lesser half of, or signing UFAs that have won Stanley Cups 10 years prior because they have playoff experience. Why don't you just go offer Doug Wade a contract, or who was that guy that took the slap shot in the face, the defenseman? He won the Stanley Cup with the Penguins. I don't remember his name. You know, this video is not even making any sense. But from a fan who's been here since day one, that has seen every single team that you have put on the ice, and that respects you, more importantly. I may not agree with everything you guys do up there, but I respect you. You're losing my respect, and you're losing my trust, and you're starting to look like a bunch of idiots. If you let this playoff series that you just blew just fly by and do nothing, trade nobody, fire nobody, you're just the joke that everybody thinks you are. And the Sharks are the chokers that everybody thinks they are, because nobody loses a 3-0 series lead and keeps their job. Nobody. Someone has to go. And it better happen. That's it. That's all I got to say.